Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Friday. I can't believe it's Friday again already.
Every week.
This week flew by. Again, we're trying to keep our promise that every Friday at 11 we'll be doing Family Friday and trying to hit on something that's probably something you're going through, because I know
Pertinent.
we all go
Timely.
through it. Yes. Busy week for us. For most of you in the community that know us, we had an addition to the family last week. Jamie, two of them. Jamie and I, with some things she's been involved with and different charities, ends up we have an extra 2 toddlers at our house for the next few weeks that we're helping. We're helping
Transition.
out. So helping transition. It's a pretty big thing. I know it was. It's obviously a lot more noise, a lot more potential for meltdowns and things we'll talk about today. But
Logistics.
overall, it's definitely been very touching. Definitely to do what we could to help a family during this. So it's been pretty special. But what we wanted to talk to you guys about today that'll include that is something that I know a lot of you are dealing with right now. We wanted to talk a little bit about, there's going to be some teen grumpiness. There's going to be meltdowns from little kids. There might be arguments between you and your spouse. How do we handle that? And I think that, well, do you want to talk about our interview a little bit with Dandapani, or?
Sure, yeah. And I was actually going to say, we'll talk some about maybe how to not get to the conflict point, right? So,
yeah, preemptive.
Yeah, de-escalating, making sure that we're setting the tone as Dandapani taught us, right? And one of the first ways in which, in the interview that you'll hear this week, I referenced the fact of just making your bed. Dandapani talked about this. You brought this home from, maybe the first time you met him and you were like, this is what he said to do. And so my thing is sometimes we get it all right, and sometimes all we manage to get right is making our bed. But if we can do the one thing to start your day and kind of set the tone for the day. So I'm set for the day, I'm ready for the day. In the same way that kind of sets the tone or tells you that like you've got something right, I think it's important that we set the tone. I kind of went off on a tangent, but I do that sometimes.
That's okay.
So setting the tone, the outside world is kind of chaotic right now, and we've got this virus going on and quarantines and everything's unpredictable. But you can make things predictable inside of your home.
Yes.
So you can set the tone inside of your home. You can set the tone inside of your heart and in your mind. And that's one thing that Dandapani in this week's interview that you'll hear a lot of mindset and creating that freedom and that space within your own space by having a positive mindset. Where your mind goes is where the energy will go as well. Yeah.
And we want to, as Jamie said, be preemptive. You're going to have meltdowns, teen grumpiness, potential arguments with your spouse. I've learned, like what she said, is you set the tone. And if you'll set the tone, where your family usually follows. That's the first 2 days of this pandemic. I was grumpy. I was short.
And we were a bit disorganized too.
Disorganized, but I made a promise that I'm very proud that I've kept to, where I'm just like, I'm not going to let this eat me up. There's unknowns, there's challenges. But if I set the tone, then I know that there'll be less meltdowns. I know that there'll be less chance for argument. I know that there'll be, less teen grumpiness. Although my one son yesterday said, "You've been so happy."
It's annoying.
It's actually annoying. But I'd rather be that type of annoying than some where, we've been dealing with some people who are getting really bitter and angry with their families. And I want to remind you, when you're setting that tone, it's not your family's fault. This whole thing is not your family's fault. They didn't cause it. It's just not. And you say, "Oh, I know that." But if you stop and think for a minute, do you really know that? And you want to be thinking about that. That's super important. And we're all still learning, as we talked about. Mm-hmm. So I think that our lesson for today, to avoid, a couple things. Something Jamie taught me for toddler meltdowns. Anyone who has kids under the age of 5 right now, hey Sam, hey Brian, how's it going? Anyone who has the 5 and under group, there's going to be meltdowns. And I used to try to power through meltdowns. Like, stop crying. What are you doing? No, that's enough.
Actually, before you started powering through them, you used to laugh and be like, "I love meltdowns."
Yeah, I kind of liked them at first. And then I got too much an abundance of them. And now with an extra 2 toddlers at the house,
I'm done.
It's not as fun as it used to be. So some of my friends are laughing out there, I'm sure. But in all seriousness, Jamie said, look, sometimes a meltdown, you just have to let them fall apart and they'll come back together quicker. Yeah. And that one thing, if you have kids under the age of 5, look, sometimes they're going to get worked up. But what I've learned is we still have meltdowns, but they usually last a lot less time than others, because we give them the space to fall apart and then usually wrap them up. Does that mean we don't discipline them? We do, but sometimes it's tough for them to communicate in that, so we really give a little space to fall apart. It's like a quick earthquake, and then it's done. And that's been a big lesson that Jamie taught me, because again, I used to want to, no, stop it right now, no, try to cut it off, and all that does is elongate it, and that's not what you want.
It's a struggle, right? I think I had a good visual, Simplicity Parenting, The Soul of Discipline, Kim John Payne, great books if you haven't read them yet. He references tension, arguments, and between family members, loved ones. He's specifically talking about with children, but it can even happen with spouses. If you imagine a knot and you continue to like struggle, you're each struggling in a different direction, and that knot gets tighter. If you kind of let go, the knot has enough space to work its way out. So if that gives you a good visual.
Dandapani talked about that too, loosening the mesh.
Remember? Loosen
Watch
the
the
weave.
interview. The interview with Dandapani was phenomenal. He's been a friend for 10 years, but his big saying is, where awareness goes, energy flows.
And you can be calm even when someone else is chaotic. Sorry, I didn't want to forget that.
No, that's good.
So you have, I think I've even seen a meme. I know they're not called memes, but one of those things that like has the writing, and we do them too. But it says, be the calm in their chaos. Don't join the chaos. You can be the calmness, even if it's a little bit stormy inside their little bodies. Which
goes back to setting the tone. Again, Dandapani, our friend, says, where awareness goes, energy flows. So if you're focusing on all the meltdowns they had today or the grumpy moments, then you're forgetting about all the good ones. Or another saying is, focus breeds increase. If you're having struggles at work right now, and that's all you're focusing on instead of solutions or the fact that everyone in your family is still healthy, then that's going to wear on your face. Again, I think most of you heard that story about me and Maggie on day 2. Again, I'll be honest, I was a grumpy prick the first 2 days. And I literally had an awakening because I had gotten off a text, which I was in my living room where I shouldn't have been taking it. I always say, be separate when you're taking your work things from the family living area. And someone I thought was getting pushed around in business that's really close to me, and I didn't like it. And I was worked up. And I'm in my head, and Maggie goes, Daddy, why are you so mad at me? So there's my little 5-year-old daughter sitting there, and I was kind of devastated. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do this time. 2008, business-wise, almost crushed me, and I've taken almost an odd attitude now, where everyone's like, what the hell's the matter with you? You're so happy and jovial, and I'm like, things are good. Yeah, we've had some business setbacks and that, but we know how to navigate this stuff. We've done it before, and we're all healthy. We're all at the beach. We're all safe right now. There's food, there's
We're in a
water.
space that someone trusted us with 2 extra children.
Yeah, we got 2 extra kids. So I'm telling you, just by taking that, and I know this might annoy, is the focus breeds increase. So I've been focusing on all the things that are happening right, and it seems like more things are unfolding. As weird as that sounds, it's the truth. So totally. What was another question that people were having that we wanted to answer this week?
I think we were going to talk about, so in addition to setting the tone and how you can set the tone in that environment, like you said, if that's what you're focused on, if you're focused on the positivity, you're bringing the positivity into your home, and then you're going to have positive interactions. So just imagine, and then those around you, in theory, in hopes, will then go on to have more positive interactions. Now, if you're in a shitty mood and you're taking it out on someone else, chances are that teen who's already slightly grumpy and slightly edgy, that teen's going to then go take it out on another teen or on, and so you're just continuing to breed conflict if the mood and the tone that you set. So it's always a good idea if you see conflict in your home or something that's like really escalating, if you feel that tension rising, you can say to yourself, okay, so what is my part in this? Where am I at in my head? Where am I at in my heart? What have I been saying to myself? What have I been saying to others? So, but also we talked about maybe some tools for de-escalating. So things that kind of, beyond setting the tone, what are some things you can do? Like gratitude
or apologies. I think we talked about this already. The one thing that we're getting better at for setback recoveries, and you're going to have setbacks in time like this. Anyone else who says, oh no, things are perfect, that's not true. Come on. We all have setbacks, little arguments, misunderstandings. We've learned to apologize fast and sincerely. If you will just admit, hey, I'm setting the tone, I might be a little short, and just recognize that, and you're fast to apologize and do it sincerely, not that, oh, well, I'm sorry that you are worked up right now. Those backhanded apologies.
You've never done one
I've never done that. But they don't work very well for anyone. And I think we've all learned that lesson. So apologize fast and sincerely. That will help set the tone for it. And one other thing I want to include, stop business puking in your living room. This is really important. If you're taking a call just on a whim right in front of your family or answering a text or an email, it sets a bad tone. And if you're dealing with some heavy stuff, it's gonna come out on your face like it did for me that second day of this whole thing.
Or even sometimes you'll have something in your mind and you'll like be telling me about it really excitedly, and it feels like you're yelling at me.
Yes, my North Jersey passion comes out and I'm talking and I try not to discuss business in front of my little ones anymore because I get really passionate. And they might think, oh, is daddy mad? And it's like, what are you talking about? That's just the way I talk. So, but sometimes you might be mad and you have to, again, don't business puke in your living room. Go to a space outside, at home office, a spot in your house, your car. Don't just be impeding on family time right there and taking those tougher calls. It really does affect in a negative way. Mm-hmm. So, setting the tone, that is absolutely key. That's what we wanted to hit on this week.
And it ties right in with that interview with Dandapani today. That'll come out, I think comes out maybe at 4.
Yeah, and at 4 o'clock today. Dandapani is our good friend. He's stuck in New York with his wife and daughter in a small apartment, but we talked about how to find gratitude and also the power of focus. What you're focusing on will expand. This is not woo-woo stuff. This is actually scientifically proven. So if we want to get through this more whole with better results, that's what we highly, highly recommend that you do. You set the tone and focus will breed increase. So that could be for good or for bad.
Totally. So what are some other tools?
The other tools that we wanted to talk about, I wanted to ask real quick before we sign off, because we're only going to stay on about 3 more minutes, guys, is where are you at with your tech distancing? You know, we talked about this. Are you shutting off? If you're at 30 minutes a day of watching the news or reading of the news, you're, hey, big Viking. If you're watching the news or reading it for 30 minutes a day, you're informed. If you're doing it for 2+ hours a day, you're infected. I mean, think about that. Why are you inundating yourself with the same updates, 2+ hours? I highly recommend you. Nice hair, Jamie. Thank you, Eric. I'm sure your beard looks good right now, too.
Train of thought. Keep going. I'm going to be so impressed.
I'm sorry. So no, this is
Thanks,
focus. So it's really important on how much are you exposing yourself to the news and how often are you shutting off your phone. If you're always available for that text, for that email, for that Facebook thread, you're not available for the people in front of you. And again, you are setting that frantic tone without even realizing it, and that will trickle down. Don't set that frantic tone. Do some tech distancing. We're not saying you can't use it. And don't be afraid to have your kids off the phones for a certain amount of time. Like again, every day, 5:30 to 7:30, or sometimes 6 to 8. Everyone in our house is shut off. We're having mealtime, conversation, people can go outside, but there's no news, no laptop, no phone, no nothing.
No distractions. Too, going along with like you said, puking in the living room, you could also call it like bitching, right? Like bitching. And the thing is that if you're puking and then everybody else starts bitching, you know what I mean? Like then we're all just super grumpy. So
not a good tone to set. Not a good tone to set. So go right with the tech distancing. Again, setting the tone. If you're always on your phone, you can't set the right tone. There's no way. It's absolutely impossible.
And if you're not making those spaces to like really focus on like what is the intention that I'm setting in my space? What's the intention that I want to grow and breed in my family? If you really don't want to breed the negativity, you don't want to breed the blending of the work and the home. You just, if you really focus, whatever you focus on is going to continue to expand. Yeah,
which was good in the Dandapani interview, if you guys watch it, where we talked about half-in parenting. When you're trying to work while also parenting a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, that's not a good combo because you're going to get frustrated. Now 4 of them. You're going to get frustrated. You're not going to be able to do your best. They're going to get frustrated with you because they say something to you they're all excited about and you give the classic, It's a really bad combo. Again, that's setting the tone. So don't do half-in parenting. Either be on a work call and handling work stuff, emails, texts, or don't, and be there with your family and set the times and the schedules. But that tech distancing is absolutely key. So I think that's what we want to hit on, just setting the tone and tech distancing. A lot of people were reaching out to us and saying, our kids are starting to get frustrated with each other. Our teens are grumpy. Our little ones are melting down. There's little tactics you can do, like I told you, of when they melt down, let them have that space.
Loosen the knot.
But set the tone. Go back to yourself and say, am I worked up? Am I showing the fear of business concerns on my face? Am I having mental movies in my head as I'm walking through family and they think I'm frustrated with them? Be very, very aware of yourself. And I find that will set the tone. Because let me tell you, in the beginning of this, I think I set a terrible tone. But now, and I'm sure you'd out me right here on TV, I've tried to set a tone that's like, hey, we're going to have fun. We're going to make the most of this. We're going to try to help people. Because, yeah, we've had some people devastated with losses. But we're also going to be appreciative. And I want to, you know, whether this goes another month or another 3 months, I want to walk out of this saying, we made the most of it, kept a good attitude. I led from setting a leadership tone, not a crazy tone. And
another thing which leads me, and we can wrap up with this, but another great thing in the Dandapani interview that you just inspired me to speak on was that the way that he says, you know, how you act and respond and right now in this like boiling pot when we're able to be molded and melded, that then you can carry that new image, that new thing that you created in this hot pot into it even when things cool down. So right now is a perfect time to find what's it going to look like when this is all done.
Yes. Yeah. So again, hot metal, you can bend, you can move, you can sculpt.
It's malleable.
But once it's cold and hard, you're not moving it. So there's a time where you can be.
Let's be malleable right now, right? Yeah. Like let's get warm and set the tone and decide what that's going to look like.
Yeah. Set the leadership tone. If you want to have sibling rivalry go down, you want to have meltdowns reduced, teen grumpiness, arguments with your spouse, set the tone. It starts with you. And also be clear, I'm working or I'm with family. Don't try to do both. That is the most simple thing that's killing a lot of people. Don't let it happen. So anyway, we wanted to keep it short and sweet. We'll be here every Friday. Keep reaching out to us. We've gotten to talk to a lot of you, which we are very honored that we get to help you with your family life. And remember, nothing lasts forever. This will pass. This will definitely pass. But while we're going through it, why not make the most of it? Set the leadership tone.
Absolutely. And if there's something that you ever want to hear us talk on or that you have questions on, just give us a note here or, you know, Jim or Jamie at 18summers.com. Oh, Jamie Lee at 18summers.com. Forgot about that. All right. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend.
Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.
Look for that interview.